Imagine waking up one day and feeling that something has changed. The weight that has been on your shoulders for years seems to have dissipated. What once seemed like an endless cycle of challenges now gives way to a new horizon. Have you ever had the feeling that your life was about to change, even without exactly understanding why? This feeling is not just a fleeting thought. March 2025 will mark the beginning of a new era for those born under the sign of Scorpio. But why is this moment so significant? What is happening now that hasn't happened in recent years? In the last 13 years, Scorpio has faced a period of intense trial. Financial challenges, emotional instability, and unexpected changes tested their resilience. It was like going through a long storm without knowing when the sky would clear up again. But every cycle has an end. Now, the stars are beginning to realign in a way that hasn't happened in decades. Jupiter and Saturn, two planets that govern luck and structure, finally come into harmony with Scorpio, paving the way for a phase of stability and growth. In Buddhism, there is a fundamental principle in permanence. Nothing remains the same forever. The suffering experienced so far is not a sentence, but rather a process of transformation. Just as night gives way to dawn, Scorpio's difficult years now make way for an era of opportunities. What does this mean in practice? How will this change affect your life in the next 20 years? The answer is closer than you think. The last 13 years, the period of challenges. Since 2012, Scorpio has gone through a cycle of intense challenges, marked by sudden changes and unexpected obstacles. This period coincided with astrological movements that deeply impacted those ruled by this sign. Saturn, the planet of discipline and limitations, was in challenging positions, imposing restrictions and requiring double effort for each achievement. Uranus, associated with unpredictability and radical transformation, brought twists that were not always easy to understand. If we look at the last 13 years, we will see a scenario marked by global instability. Between 2012 and 2024, the world went through economic crises, technological advances that transformed careers and lifestyles, as well as periods of great social uncertainty. For Scorpio, this energy was amplified. Many people of this sign felt that they were constantly fighting against circumstances they couldn't control. In Buddhism, there is a concept called dukkha, which represents the inherent suffering of life. But the teaching goes further. Suffering is not permanent, and overcoming it depends on how we deal with it. The challenges of this cycle were not punishments, but lessons that strengthened the resilience of those who face them. However, the nature of life is change, and that is exactly what will begin to happen from March 2025. What once seemed like a never-ending battle is now transforming into a new phase of growth and stability. It is the moment to understand that each obstacle overcome was a preparation for what is to come. The past cannot be changed, but the future will be shaped by the choices made now. March 2025, the beginning of a new era. The history of humanity is marked by cycles. Just like the seasons of the year, periods of difficulty are always followed by moments of renewal. In March 2025, one of these cycles comes to an end for Scorpio, marking the beginning of a completely new phase. But what makes this moment so special? Astrologically, this transformation occurs through the movement of Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter, associated with expansion, prosperity, and growth, finally enters a favorable alignment, unlocking opportunities that previously seemed inaccessible. Saturn, which in recent years has been a symbol of restriction and obstacles, now takes on a different role. Instead of imposing difficulties, it will begin to structure a solid path for the future. This type of change doesn't happen frequently. In fact, the last time Scorpio experienced a similar transition was almost 3 decades ago. But there is something that makes this new cycle even more impactful: the influence of Pluto, the planet that rules Scorpio. Pluto represents deep transformation, the ending of old patterns, and rebirth. Its current position suggests that those who are ready to reinvent themselves will have a period of unprecedented opportunities ahead of them. In Buddhism, there is a fundamental teaching called anicca, which means impermanence. Nothing is fixed, everything is in constant change. Just as a river never flows in the same place twice, life also follows this flow. Those who resist change suffer more, while those who accept this truth adapt more easily and find new possibilities. This new phase will not only bring luck and ease, but will require conscious action. The energy of the moment will favor those who are prepared to make strategic decisions and abandon old habits that no longer serve them. Destiny is not something that simply happens, but rather the result of choices made with clarity and determination. Those who understand this dynamic will be able to transform the next 20 years into a period of achievement and growth like never before experienced. Opportunities and paths for the next 20 years. With the arrival of this new cycle, Scorpio is faced with a promising scenario. The energy that once seemed stagnant now flows smoothly, opening paths for significant changes. But for this transformation to be fully utilized, it is essential to understand the areas of life that will be most impacted. The first major change will manifest in the financial aspect. For years, the challenges imposed by planetary influences made progress slower and gains less stable. Now, the situation is reversed. Jupiter, responsible for expansion and prosperity, will drive opportunities that previously seemed distant. This means that old projects may finally come to fruition, investments will have more predictable growth, and new sources of income may emerge for those who are attentive. However, material prosperity is not the only point of transformation. Emotional stability will also be one of the pillars of this new period. During the last few years, Scorpio faced instabilities that tested their patience and resilience. Personal relationships went through difficult times. Some grew stronger, while others had to be left behind. Now, the trend is one of reconstruction. Healthier connections will become part of the routine, allowing for more balanced and genuine relationships. In Buddhism, there is a concept called samadhi, which represents a state of deep mental equilibrium. It teaches that when the mind calms down and finds a point of stability, all other areas of life begin to align naturally. This period will be an invitation for Scorpio to practice this principle, seeking harmony between reason and emotion to make more conscious decisions. Moreover, personal growth will be another central point in this phase. During the last few years, many limitations were imposed, hindering progress in different areas. Now, the barriers are dissipating, allowing new skills to be developed, knowledge to be acquired, and old goals to finally be achieved. This is a unique opportunity to redefine the future. Those who are willing to act with clarity and determination will see that the next 2 decades can be marked by solid and lasting achievements. How to take advantage of this transformation? The beginning of this new cycle does not mean that everything will happen automatically. Opportunities will be available, but it will be up to each individual to decide how to use them. For this period of growth to be truly significant, it will be necessary to adopt an active and conscious stance. The first step is to sever any ties with the past that still cause stagnation. For years, challenging experiences have created limiting beliefs that hinder progress. This is the time to leave behind resentments, frustrations, and fears that no longer have a place in this new phase. In Buddhism, this idea connects to shunyata, which reminds us that reality is in constant transformation and that we must learn to empty the mind of old convictions to allow something new to emerge. The second essential point is to act with determination. With Jupiter driving growth and Saturn providing structure, the tendency is that significant changes will occur. For those who know how to make strategic decisions, this means abandoning procrastination and committing to projects that truly bring about evolution. Another important factor will be the creation of habits that sustain this new energy. Any true transformation requires discipline and continuity. Routines that promote mental and physical balance, such as the practice of meditation, contact with nature, and the pursuit of knowledge, will be essential to maintain this positive flow over the years. Finally, it is necessary to cultivate an attentive eye to opportunities. Often, great changes arise from small decisions. Being aware of the signs and ready to act will make all the difference in how the cycle will be experienced. Success will not be a matter of luck, but rather of preparation and adaptation to the new possibilities that will arise. The arrival of March 2025 represents a milestone for those seeking a significant turnaround in their lives. For years, challenges have accumulated, making the path arduous and filled with uncertainties. Now, this cycle comes to an end, making way for a period of renewal, stability, and growth. This is not just an astrological change, but a real opportunity for transformation. What once seemed out of reach will begin to manifest, but it will be essential to act consciously to reap the benefits of this new moment. Financial opportunities will arise, relationships will gain more balance, and the mind will have more clarity to make important decisions. In Buddhism, we learn that everything in the universe follows a natural flow. Resisting this flow generates suffering, while accepting it and acting wisely puts us in harmony with reality. This is the moment to trust in this movement and move forward without fear. The next 20 years could be the most prosperous period of Scorpio's life, but this will depend on choices made now. The past has served as a lesson, but it can no longer define what is to come. The only question that remains is, are you ready for this transformation?